Hi, I'm Timothy.
Hi, I'm Ron.
And you're here with the Developer Show on location at the Launchpad Accelerator. Tell me, what is Launchpad?
In Launchpad Accelerator, we work with late-stage startups, and their biggest challenge is how to grow. Now, It turns out, in order to build successful business, it's more than just writing great lines of code. You need to work on marketing, on your user experience, on your product strategy, how you raise funds, and how you build your company. We have startups here from Indonesia, India, Brazil, and Mexico. They go back home, and we continue to work with them for a period of 6 months.
That's amazing.
I hope so.
Okay, so we're going to talk with a few startups today and a few of the mentors about their experience with the Launchpad Accelerator and some of the Google technologies that they're using.
Great, sounds awesome.
Let's get to it. So I'm now standing here with Iman and Jordan. Iman is CEO of a startup that's at the Launchpad Accelerator, and Jordan was his mentor. Iman, tell us a little bit about your startup.
We are Ruangguru. In English, it means teacher's room. So what we're doing is that we build a learning management system targeting to K-12 market in Indonesia. And on the other hand, we also provide a tool for teachers and also parents to monitor how students are performing.
That's awesome. Now, what Google technologies do you use?
So one of the things that we are working on while we are at Launchpad is actually to build a progressive web app, because one of the things that we figure out working in Indonesian market is that the internet penetration is very low there, and then like the data also costs very highly. So that's also one of the concerns that most of our users have. So we're thinking about the solution to actually equip our users to increase speed and conversion, definitely.
That's amazing. And Jordan's been helping you.
Yeah, definitely. It's been very helpful.
Now, how's the process been going, adding in progressive web apps to this business?
I mean, Ruangguru has a kind of very straightforward business in network conditions like Indonesia, where there's not always a great network connection, where, sometimes you think you're on Wi-Fi, sometimes you're on 2G, sometimes you're on 3G, but really you're on nothing. That happens a lot. Yeah. And what it allows you to do is, as an app, you can pull from the cache on the device first before having to go out to the network. So Ruangguru can use service workers to use caching to create a kind of offline first application for their web app that enables students to read content at home where they might not have a network connection, or on the train where there might not be any cellular service at all.
That's amazing. Iman, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Jordan, you want to stick around for another one?
For sure.
All right. Anshu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Will you tell us a little bit about your startup, Magicpin?
So the name Magicpin comes from pin a location on the map, and we'll show you the magic around that location. we are a hyper-local social network where for our users, we get them to discover interesting people around them, interesting merchants around them, and for merchants, we let them tap that local audience, which is otherwise very hard for them to reach out to. So they can increase new customers for themselves, increase revenue when they're in troughs, and then also just generally connect with the users who live in that locality.
Very cool. And you've been working with Jordan on creating a progressive web app.
Yeah. And the sessions have been great, because in a market like India, downloading an app is also a higher commitment. It requires, on an average, a user would keep 5 or 6 apps on their phone. And if you want to be the next app that they download, then that is a higher threshold. There is more friction to that. What progressive web apps let us do...
5 or 6 apps?
Yeah.
5 or 6?
Yeah, so the devices really are constrained on...
download 5 or 6 apps a day.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the devices in these markets have not that much space on device, right? So you're talking about 128 megabytes of memory, and when you add in system features, you have maybe 40 megabytes of user space. And if a typical APK is a few megabytes, you can only have a few of those before you can really have to stop downloading it. Yeah. One of the great things about progressive web apps that Anshu was mentioning was that you don't have to request that commitment right up front. You can start to build a relationship with the user through the web interface, and over time the web app can become more and more like a native app. It can be housed on device. It can cache cache content and work offline.
Yeah. Awesome. So in the last 1.5 weeks that we have been here, based on these conversations, we actually launched a micro version of our platform on progressive web app, and that experience is great. Without using the app, people can get as good an experience.
1.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Good work, mentor.
Well, I don't deserve any of the credit. These guys certainly do.
Indeed.
The only problem is that none of the merchants are here in Mountain View. They're all in, India. So I will never be able to try it out. I'll have to stop by sometime.
We'll find a way for you to do that.
We now have Sandeep, co-founder of RedCarpet. Sandeep, tell us about your startup.
Okay, so RedCarpet basically lends to customers in India to fund their online purchases, whether it be e-commerce or travel or anything. Now in India, credit and finance companies barely service 3% of the customer base because there is absolutely no data. There's no credit bureau data to score and profile these customers. Now RedCarpet has actually access to much more data, which includes the data on your mobile phone. Therefore, we are now able to service customers who have never had credit in their life before.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So India is basically a country where 90% of the economy, which is a $1 trillion economy, is cash, which includes e-commerce. E-commerce is 90% cash, right?
Wow.
So banks, even if they look at your bank statement, have no data to process anything. There's no transactions, right? The only transactions that come up is on your mobile phone, and that's what we access to build like a profile for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been using machine learning over the last couple of weeks to help out.
Yeah, so Francisco, and we talked a lot about how we can leverage machine learning. RedCarpet is fundamentally a data science company, right? We are one of the very few companies that combine a people graph, like I'm connected to you, with historical transaction data. Now this falls outside the realm of traditional machine learning, and it's like not something that you can just slap a package on and have it work, right? So we're a Y Combinator startup, and when we applied to Launchpad, one of the key things we were looking for is access to the crown jewels of Google, which is like the people who like drive the machine learning.
This
which
guy
is
right
Francisco,
here.
right? Now Francisco and I like talked, I don't know, for like a couple of at least an hour or so, and we came up with a new way to combine graph and traditional data into a new way of doing machine learning, which was pretty freaking awesome. Yeah.
So Sandeep example illustrates really the flexibility of TensorFlow programming model. Historically, we have seen in the market that certain tools specialize on one type of machine learning, and the idea with TensorFlow is to provide a unified platform, computation platform, so that a team can experiment with models for sparse features, for dense features, or in the case of Sandeep, look at more complex things like graph analysis and incorporate all of that to provide more accurate predictions.
So what's next for RedCarpet?
And we're going to take all of these learnings back to India, and we're probably going to build India's largest fintech company.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Ron, we just talked to some amazing startups about their time at Launchpad Accelerator. They're using progressive web apps, machine learning with TensorFlow, even Firebase. If there are startups out there that want to get involved like these, where do they go?
So check out our link down below, and we invite you to apply to the next batch of Launchpad Accelerator. Really hope to see you with us.
Awesome. And if you'd like to check out some of the technologies that we talked about, we'll link those below as well. See ya.
Bye.